So this morning I was planning on covering events going on in the Middle East and an article that I saw on an Israeli news site, but as I was searching for scripture, I ran into something that I found that it is absolutely necessary for me to address this subject at once. So I will go ahead and get started. First John 4. Now, in this instance, I'm going to read from the Aramaic Bible in plain English because, quite frankly, the King James Version of this is downright offensive. Verse 1. Beloved, do not believe all spirits. Now, this word spirits, it seems to mean, let's see if I can find it in Strong's Concordance. Wind. Well, breath, spirit. In other words, words that come out of people's mouth. Right? So just because somebody tells you something, don't always believe what you hear, is what he's saying. Don't believe everything you hear. But be distinguishing between spirits, or be distinguishing between sayings or even doctrines, whether they are from Jehovah or not, because there are many false prophets that have gone out into the world. The Spirit of Jehovah is known in this way. And folks, we're going to use the sword of truth to cut through all of this and to find which is the spirit of the truth and which is the spirit of deception once and for all. The Spirit of Jehovah is known by this. Every spirit who confesses that Yehoshua the Messiah has come in the flesh is from Jehovah. Let me repeat that. Every single spirit or every pattern of words that confesses that Yehoshua, notice now, Yeshua is incorrect. It is sloppy. You need to use the whole name of the Messiah. That name means Jehovah is salvation. Has come in the flesh is from Jehovah. And no spirit that doesn't confess that Yehoshua has come in the flesh is from Jehovah. But that spirit or that doctrine or that word or even the man behind it, that false doctrine is from that false Messiah. Ever heard of Vicar of Christ, folks? Him, you have heard that he will come. And this is where Christians today stop. They do not want to hear anymore. Because where it says, you have heard that he will come. And that means he is yet to come. But they never finish the sentence. Why? Because to do so would destroy the entire narrative. That's right. But he's already in the world. What? He's already here. He says, you have heard that he was coming, but I'm telling you, he's already here. So immediately, I did a little bit of background checking. We know that Yohanan lived the longest of the disciples, of the apostles. Now, do I know this to be exactly true? No. But what I'm Here's what I'm saying. Here is what I'm saying. I'm going to use this one right here. John, the Johannine epistles, the epistles of John, or the letters of John, are three of the, as they say, they're not Catholic epistles. They are Johannine's epistles, folks. But they're going to put their name on it, right? Of the, as they say, New Testament, but it's not. Remember what I said yesterday. The New Covenant, thought to have been written AD 85 through 100. Now, if Johannine is saying that the false Messiah or the anti-Messiah has already come, I just proved it right here, right there in 1 John. Okay. Let's very carefully analyze this, folks. So he's saying that the false Messiah, whom you have heard he will come, he's already come. All right? So what is this false? What is the doctrine? What is the spirit, the doctrine of this false Messiah? What is it? He will not confess that Yehoshua has come in the flesh. He won't. Let me show you something. I could go over every single religion of Christianity and you will see the same thing. So what I'm going to do is go to this Billy Graham. Is it Billy Graham? Yeah, Billy Graham. That's it. They're not supposed to be near as evangelicals, and not supposed to be near as bad as Catholics. So we'll look at them. So he goes, does a question and answer. And I quote, "How could Jesus have been equal to God, as Christians claim, when he was only a man? I can understand why you'd want to try making him into something great, but claiming that he was God doesn't make any sense to me." Answer. And this is the wrong answer. Why? Because he will not confess fully that Yehoshua came in the flesh. His answer is, one of the Bible's greatest truths is that 2,000 years ago, God became a man. Really? So what, in essence, what they are saying is the Creator became a man. That's what he's saying. So he's saying Jesus wasn't fully human. No, he wasn't only fully human, he was also fully God. That's double talk. That's double talk. You can't have it both ways. He says, as he claims, the Bible puts it this way: the Son is the radiance of Jehovah's glory and the exact representation of his being. All right, Hebrews 1 and verse 3. Let's see what it says. Jehovah, who at verse 1, at sundry times, let me scroll down so you can see it, in different manners spoke in times past unto the fathers or the patriarchs by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he has appointed heir of all things. Now, did the Son appoint himself heir of all things? No, the Father did. By whom also, all right, it says, by whom also he made the worlds. Let me go look at Strong's Concordance. What just happened? By whom he, okay. On the account of who also to make the worlds or the ages. Oh, that's a little bit of different way to say it, isn't it now? Well, what just happened here? All right. To talk in this last day spoken to us in or on or by a Son who set heir of everything on the account of that, not whom, on account of that also to make the ages. Okay. So you see, it's not worded exactly the same way as King James wants to say. Who being the radiance of his honor, says opinion, praise and honor, and the express image, or it says a tool character. Oh, wait a minute, hold it. Character. You see that word right there, character? That is an English word that came from the Greek. Now let's look at this word. An impression or representation. Now it says also an exact reproduction. Well, we know what the word character means. Now, yes, just like all mankind was made in the image of our Father in heaven, so was he. But is that what he's talking about? Express images. Is that what he's talking about? He's talking about his character. Exactly how we know the word character to mean. Of his person. Well, this person is of his substance and of his steadiness. So the character of his steadiness and upholding all things by a word of his power, might, and strength. When he had, on the account of himself, to make due our company, failures and sins, sat down on the right hand of the Majesty on high. Being to become, he became to come into being, which means became. He stepped up. He became so much better than the angelic realm, as he has by inheritance obtained a more excellent authority, cause, besides self, it says, autos. Okay. So when you go over it carefully with Strong's Concordance, then you begin to realize that it does not contradict Isaiah 44 verse 24 at all. You see. Now, let's go there. We'll go there in verse 24, and I'm going to go to use Strong's Concordance again. All right. Thus saith Jesus? No. Jehovah. That is the Father. He is the Creator. Your Redeemer. And He formed you from the womb. I am Jehovah, that accomplishes, makes everything, and stretched out forth the heavens, and to beat and stamp out and spread out the earth. Okay? Now we will go to I want to make sure that Psalm 139 and 13 is not mentioning this. 39 and 13. Right. I don't see, so what I'll do is I'm going to go back to where I was going to go to begin with, which would be Isaiah 49. All right? This is where we get closer to the truth, folks. Listen, O coastlands, unto me. And listen, you people that are far away. Jehovah has called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother, he made mention of my name. Are you saying he had no name until he was formed from the womb? Let's go look at this carefully. Want to evade the truth? Well, I'm going to throw the truth at you. Jehovah proclaimed belly, body, womb, from the belly of a mother, of my mother. He made mention, or remember, Zakar means both, my name. Now let's look at here, just to make sure. To even boast, or bring to remembrance, or bringing into mind, call to mind, celebrate, certainly still remember, come into remembrance, or considered, that would probably be the correct. He considered the name that he was going to give him. Okay? Now, he has made my mouth like a sharp sword. Uh-oh. Let me show you something, folks. Oh, what have I done? Out of his mouth comes a sharp sword which to strike the nation. You see that right there? Revelation 19:15. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and his name, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. What in the world? I thought Christianity knew his name. Apparently not. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Jehovah. You shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Jehovah. What did we just read? Isn't Isaiah 49 the words of Jehovah? So that means, folks, look, hold on. I'm not finished yet. And his armies, the armies which were in heaven, followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, and out of his mouth came a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. Now, he will rule them with a rod of iron. Now watch this. So let's go back to Isaiah 49 again. All right. He has made my mouth like a sharp sword. This is the same individual. From where did he call him from? The womb. From the bowels of his mother. That is when he considered making a name for this man. And he named him after himself. The father's name is Jehovah, and the son's name is Yehoshua. Then it says, in the shadow of his hand has he hid me, and made me a polished sword, an arrow, made me a polished arrow. In his quiver hath he concealed. He concealed that quiver. He concealed that arrow. He concealed that sword that in his scabbard. He concealed the arrow in his quiver. Therefore, nobody saw or knew Yehoshua. Nobody. But he was with the Father from the beginning. How? He was in the quiver of Jehovah. Just like my own son was in my quiver before he was conceived. If you don't understand the physical things, how can you understand the spiritual things? And then he says, unto me, my servant, Israel, to glorify. My servant to Israel to glorify. Or my servant to glorify Israel. This is my servant who will glorify Israel. In other words, save Israel. Then I said, this is a prophecy. Remember, Isaiah was a prophet. What does a prophet do? He speaks of something that's going to happen in the future. Then I said, I've labored in vain. I've spent my strength for nothing and in vain, yet surely judgment is with Jehovah, and my recompense with my Elohim. Now the Jehovah speaks, and he says, the one that formed him from the womb, the one who formed him from the womb. Now, folks, either he formed him from the womb or he didn't. Now, you can go ahead and listen to Billy Graham. You can go ahead and listen to these evangelical preachers, and you can listen to the Catholic priests, and you can listen to the Orthodox and all the Protestants, or you can listen to the truth. That's your choice. I'm just laying this out. To be his servant. For what reason? Why? To bring Jacob again. To bring Jacob again. Israel to gather. Okay. A heavy lifting in the eye of Jehovah. My Elohim shall be my strength and my might. And then Jehovah says, it is just a small thing. It is just a trifling thing that you should be my servant, only to raise up the tribes of Jacob. But see, the problem is, folks, you Christians don't even believe that. If you can't believe the foundation of the truth, which is the raising back the tribes of Israel to restore the preserved of Israel. If you can't even believe that, then how is also give for light to the Gentiles going to mean anything to you? You can't have him be a light to the Gentiles and not raise back up the tribes of Israel to restore the preserved of Israel. You can't do that. You cannot have the building without the foundation. That you may be my salvation to the ends of the earth. Thus saith Jehovah, the Redeemer of Israel. The Holy One, a soul, a living being, despised, a nation abhorred, a slave, a servant, shall have dominion. A servant, the suffering servant, will have dominion. Kings will see and arise, and princes shall also worship, because Jehovah is faithful. Jehovah is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose. Thus saith Jehovah, in an acceptable time, in the appointed time, have I heard you, and in the day of salvation have I helped you. And I will preserve you and give a covenant of the people to establish the land. The Eretz. That Eretz word is the land of Israel. To cause the people of Israel to inherit the desolate heritages, possession. You may say to the prisoners, go to them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in all the best places. They shall neither hunger nor thirst, nor shall heat smite upon them, for he will have mercy on them and lead them by the spring of water, and he will be a guide to them, and will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far away, look, from the north and from the west, and these shall come from the land even of Sinim, the far east. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains, for Jehovah has comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. Zion said, Jehovah has forsaken me, and my Adonai has forgotten me. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yes, they may forget, yet I will not forget you, Zion. Behold, I have engraved you upon the palm of my hands. Your walls are continually before me. Do not misinterpret what he says right here. Your children, Zion's children, will make haste. And they, the destroyers, the Romans, and the Muslims that made you waste, they're going to leave. They're going to run for their lives. Lift up your eyes round about, and behold, all they gather themselves together, and they come to you. As I live, saith Jehovah, you shall surely clothe yourself with all of them, the children of Israel, as an ornament, and bind them on you as a bride does. So Zion is going to wear the children of Israel like a bride's dress. Interesting, huh? For your waste and desolate places in the land of your destruction, even now, will be too narrow because of so many people. So many that will come in. It will be too small. And he's going to have to enlarge the land of Israel. And all those who swallowed you up will be chased far away. The children which you shall have after you lost the others. Now, do not misinterpret this. These are the great-great-great-grandchildren of those who were lost. Do not misinterpret the scripture. They will say again in your ears, this place is too small for me. I need more room. Then you shall say in your heart, who begot me, seeing I have lost my children, and I am desolate, a captive, and removed to and fro? Who has brought up these? Behold, I was left alone, and these, where have they been? Where have they been? They were scattered. And now their children come back. Their grandchildren come back. So, this is what Jehovah Elohim says. To lift, to carry, to take my hand to the Gentiles and be exalted, to rise. My sign, my signal. Okay, he's going to raise his hand and give them a signal to the people to come in. That's when the people of Israel are going to come in. When he raises up his hand and gives a sign. They're going to come in. Your son in the bosom, and your daughters will be carried on the shoulder. Well, see, King James Version says it's going to be the Gentiles, and I believed that for a while. That's going to bring them in. But apparently the angels are going to do it, according to what is written in the New Covenant. And kings shall be your nursing fathers, and queens your nursing mothers, and they shall bow down to you with their faces toward the earth, and lick up the dust of your feet, and you shall know. You shall know Jehovah. For those who wait for him, those who wait shall not be ashamed. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? Or it is better to look at it this way. The prey will be taken from the mighty, which means the Jews and all Israel are going to be taken by force from Rome, and the righteous captive will slip away. That's what it says. For thus saith Jehovah, even the captive of the mighty will be taken, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered, shall slip away, shall be saved. Why? Because he will contend with the opponent, with the adversary, with the anti-Messiah, to deliver his children. And I will feed those who oppressed you with their own flesh. In other words, they're going to kill each other. This is going to be a great war between the Gentiles amongst each other. They're going to kill each other during the time when he sends the angels to bring all the children of Israel back. They will be drunk with their own blood, and all flesh shall know Jehovah. Jehovah, Yasha, which is Savior, and your Redeemer, the Mighty One of Jacob. All right? Now, all of this that I just read in Isaiah 49 ties in with 1 John. It all hangs on the true Messiah, and the false Messiah does not recognize any of Isaiah 49. But Yohanan, he's going to make it easy. He says, if they don't say that Yehoshua, he gave the name, it's not Jesus, Yehoshua came in the flesh, they're not of the Father. They're of anti-Messiah. So if you say that Jesus or somebody else, like they say, is God and is the creator, then you're saying that somebody didn't come in the flesh? Is that, I mean, see, this question and answer thing is ridiculous. Philippians 2 verses 6 through 7. Here's another scripture where they misinterpret. So Philippians 2. Once again, this is here we go. We'll go to Strong's Concordance once again, and we'll see if King James Version did it yet again. Let this mind be in you, which also with Yehoshua Moshiach, who to be in, at, or by. They don't want to say in. They want to say at or by. They don't want to say in, you see. They don't want to say inside. Because you see, folks, in order to be a father, your son has to be inside of you first. Inside of you. Being in or inside, and was shaped by Jehovah. You see, this has to be in the same context as Isaiah 49. Right here, it has to be in this context. Jehovah, who called me from the womb, from the bowel of my mother, has he made mention of my name, or has he considered my name? And he made my mouth, set my mouth like a sharp sword in the shadow of his hand, has he hid me, and made me as a polished shaft in his quiver, has he hid me. Hidden, hidden, concealed, concealed, concealed. And it says right here that Jehovah formed him from the womb. Jehovah formed, fashioned from the womb to be his servant. He, Jehovah, created him. Created. In that case, procreated. So you see how the King James Version does? Extremely subtle. He was formed by Jehovah. And then they get this rest of this backwards too. They misinterpret, thought it not robbery, as they say, to be equal with Jehovah. But here's what it says. He supposed not. He supposed no act of seizing. He didn't try to take. He didn't try to say that he was equal with the Father. In fact, he said the opposite. Who then is saying that he is equal? False preachers. He said over and over again, look, John 14:28. You have heard how I said unto you, I go away and come again unto you. If you love me, you would rejoice, because I say I go unto the Father, because my Father is greater than I. Why are they saying he's equal to the Father? Who is the one that claims he's equal to the Father? Well, that would be Satan, the devil. So this is what these people really call their Messiah. They call Satan the devil their Messiah. Because Yehoshua the Messiah would never, ever make a claim that he is equal with the Father. And this is proof right here. He was formed by Jehovah. It doesn't say of Jehovah, it's by Jehovah. He did not suppose, he supposed not He did not think to seize equality with Jehovah. He wouldn't dare. Quite the opposite. He says, the Father is greater than I. And yet, 100% of Christianity today claim that their Messiah is equal with the Father. Well, the only spirit that says he is equal to the Father would be Satan, the devil himself. But made himself. He didn't make himself. But on the other hand, you see, on the other hand, empty himself of reputation, and empty again, and received the form, the shape of a servant, exactly as written in Isaiah 49, which we just, you cannot, folks, you cannot read Philippians 2 without reading Isaiah 49 as backup. You just can't. And came into being. He came into being as a man. He came into being as a man. He was found in the figure and the shape exactly as a man, because that's what he was. And he humbled himself. He was made low. He was made low. See, you got to be very careful with these words, folks. Very, very careful. He was made low himself, and came to be obedient until he died. You see what they do? Until. Why did they put unto? Until he died. Even the death of, is it the cross? No, it's the stauros, an upright stake. Now they say, hence a cross, but if you go and you read your history of stauros, it's not a cross, it's an upright stake. On the account of Jehovah also has highly exalted him. So Jehovah the Father made him low, and then exalted him after the fact, afterward, and gave him a name which is above every name. Is that name Jesus? No, it is not. How did he give him a name that is above every name? Well, isn't the name of Jehovah above every name? Jehovah is the Father. He named Yehoshua after himself. But the name Yehoshua declares that the Father is salvation. It is a declaration. It's like when Yehoshua speaks of his name, he's saying, Jehovah, my Father, is salvation. That is a name that is above all the other names. Why? Because Jehovah is above every name. And that the name of not Jesus, but Yehoshua, every knee should bow. Yehoshua, not Jesus. This Jesus is actually Satan. All things in heaven and all things in the earth and all things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Yehoshua, Moshiach, is the Master. Indicating the opinion of, or indicating their opinion of the Father. So when they confess that Yehoshua, when they confess that Yehoshua is the Master, they are declaring their positive opinion of the Father. When you don't, when you declare that another name is the Master, you are doing the opposite. You see, folks, you see how subtle, tricky, deceitful the preachers, translators, the priests have been to try to take away your salvation from you, to cause you to worship a demon rather than recognize that Yehoshua, the Son, the literal Son of the Father, who instead want you to worship a demonic being. So, that said, I think that is enough of this video. I think I have covered this correctly.